Hello and welcome to the Sporting Burrito, where we wrap all things sport, brought to you by White Knight Electrical for all your electrical needs. So as we all seen over the weekend, after months with no sport predominantly here in Australia, we finally got some rugby league back in our lives, as Peter V'landys would say. And wasn't it glorious to watch? There's plenty to dissect from the weekend. And the first week of NRL, first round of NRL, with some teams really staking their premiership claims and really some others that are really fallen below par. We'll get to your beloved team in a minute, Judisan. We'll get into some other sports as well and discuss Buddy Franklin's latest injury setback. I just can't believe it. Whether the AFL has been beaten to the punch by the NRL. I just can't see why all other organisations just don't take a leaf out of the NRL's book. The EPL's announcing a restart date, and we all know the GOAT, Tom Brady, from now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he was a bit clutch over the weekend. I'm sure you've all seen the videos. And then we'll also answer a few questions from our many listeners that we've got here tonight. So joining me as always tonight is my good mate, Vince Samaras. Mate, how you going?
I'm good, Brendan. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be back on the Burrito. As you said, big weekend. Looking forward to wrap it all up. Should be good.
It's good. And look, tonight we've just got a loyal listener to the Sporting Burrito. Judisan Kamaran, as we like to call him, JL. He's probably the Gold Coast Titans' number one fan. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. How you doing?
Yeah, mate, really good. Pleasure to have you on board.
Thanks, mate.
So let's get straight into it. First thing from the NRL, had their first round over the weekend. Vince, we'll throw it to you first. What did you firstly take away from the weekend?
Mate, it was just so good to have it back. I thought the new rule changes were great as well. The game was really fast. All the games were pretty quick. And my main takeaway was obviously the beloved Green Machine getting the W in Melbourne for the third time in a row.
That was glorious.
It was magnificent. It's always good to see the Storm lose, especially when it's the hands of the Raiders.
What do you reckon, Judisan? Main takeaway? And not a butter chicken, mate.
It's just good to see footy back again. It's been a long time coming, and even though we're not able to get crowds in, but the footy's back.
They were there.
Yeah, well, what do we think of that? What do you think of it? Exactly.
I think for the main takeaway for myself, yeah, 100%. It was awesome to see rugby league back, or in some sport here in Australia, which is awesome. But I think it was really good with this new rule that we'll speak about very soon. It was really, really good to see fast rugby league and less stoppages. Also, it brought in the halves playing a lot more footy, which is awesome. So it's really good to have rugby league back. I'm sure everyone loves that. Rugby league. Judy, we'll throw this one to you, mate. What do you think of the virtual crowd? Is that what we're going to see moving on in the season until we get some fans? I think it was pretty funny, to be honest.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to hear the sound in the background, and some stadiums had more sound than others, but it's good to have some sort of at least the players feel like there's a crowd out there. So, and that's what they want. Otherwise, it looks a bit boring. You just look when the players look into the stadium and see there's no one there really. Who they're celebrating to.
Are you going to get a $22 cutout of yourself and chuck it up there in the stands? As if some people
you look good, mate.
They have if you pay $22 and take a photo of yourself as a selfie, as we all know here in.
Or your dog. You can send your dog up there if you want.
Send your dog in too.
Favourite porn star, whatever.
You can send it in, and you can be one of the faces in the virtual crowd that they have at all of the 6 hubs around Australia at the moment. Vince, what do you reckon of it?
I loved it. I thought you didn't really notice that there was no actual people in the crowd. I thought the noise was good. It was done well. It wasn't too loud, so they did that well. And then the cutouts were, it's a bit of fun. I think
Yeah.
$22. It's not bad. Plus, I think you get to keep it at the end of the year as well. They send it back to you.
Yep.
I've always wanted a cutout. I might send one in of Judy, actually. I've always wanted a life-size cutout of him.
I think it was awesome. I think sometimes I just didn't think at a home ground advantage, like the crowd didn't know who they were cheering for. It was like there'd be some times where there'd be a knock on in the Broncos territory or something like that, we saw on Thursday night, and then they were cheering, but you just didn't know, or the Broncos just knocked it on.
Yeah. Well, there were plenty of knock-ons from the Broncos.
It was
shit. I think the virtual crowd, you got to be confused, whoever is in charge of the virtual crowd. But it's week one. He'll get used to it.
I'm sure there's a couple of people out there going like, why didn't the crowd people just go, your eyes are fucking painted on, ref? Why did we hear any...
Yeah, I know. Screaming that out. I want to hear more verbal abuse directed at the referees for more. It just wasn't a real rugby league game. Rugby league. So a bit more of that next week. That'll be good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So let's do a quick review of each match. So Thursday night, Broncos, Eels, and don't the Eels have premiership credentials, Judy?
They're looking good, especially with Mitchell Moses and Gutson. I think 2 line breaks, 1 try, and plenty of run meters. So, he's, I think, one of the top players for the most run meters. So, he's just...
That's been...
They really did get the upper hand in that game early on. As we saw, we'll touch on it now. The 6 again rule in that game was really, really pivotal in the first at least 10 minutes, where essentially, for people who don't know, the 6 again rule was brought in to slow down the penalties in the rucks in a rugby league.
Speed up the game.
And exactly, Vince. Speed up the game. So I think in that game, in the first 10 minutes, there was a set where the Eels practically had 18 tackles in a row, and they just marched up the field and then eventually scored. So I think that's an awesome rule that Peter Volandis, all hail Peter Volandis. They've really thought about this in that COVID time, Vince, haven't they?
Yeah, mate. Well, it doesn't give the defence a chance to reset, to slow the game and give themselves a breather. They just got to keep going. And if you're facing 18 tackles in a row, you're bound to slip up, especially against Parramatta. I mean, they've got too much firepower to not score. So, they were just dominant, particularly the second half. I mean, the Broncos made so many mistakes. Geez, they're good.
I reckon
they just
the Broncos are looking like, they're making plenty of errors, but, it's 12-6 at half time. So, you thought, if they get one more try, they're back in it. But they just didn't have the legs in the second half. And
they had a couple of chances as well. Milford dropped the ball over the line, and then Big Darius as well. Not a huge surprise, but he dropped it over the line. And, after that, once they blew those chances, and then the second half, they just kept dropping the ball. Yeah. And then Parramatta just pounced. It's pretty easy. But, they're looking like a top 4 side.
100%. Parramatta ran out 34-6 victors in that game. Move on to Friday night. The first game for your beloved Titans, Judy, 36-6 to the Cowboys up there at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. That's a tough start to the restart of the season, Judy.
Yeah, look, what can I say? You thought...
Yeah, what can you say?
Look, the Titans I thought Titans were good when Jamal Fogarty had his hands on the ball in the first half, but it's just too many errors, too many penalties.
He really needed to take control of that side.
And the more errors and penalties that you have, it doesn't really help your chances. Just giving the ball straight back to the Cowboys. So
it was pretty similar to the Broncos-Eels game, actually. Yeah. The Titans were right in it in the first half. They had a bit of ball out, another couple of chances to score, but then the second half, once, as Judy said, the errors and penalties, the Cowboys just rolled over the top of them.
And when you have the Cowboys, they had 46 sets to 30. That just shows starving of possession really stuffs you. So hopefully onwards and upwards for the Titans, but great start nonetheless for the Cowboys. Roosters, Rabbitohs. Now that was a cracker early on.
Sorry, I just going to quickly say something. Just a quick note. I thought the halves of the Cowboys played really well, especially with no Morgs there. You know, thought Clifford and Drinkwater they played well under the pressure of
Do they need Morgan?
They played well without him, but that experience and having Morgs there,
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Val Holmes was good as well.
Yeah,
just coming back, he had a few tries. He's good hands, so look out for him.
So moving to Friday night's second game.
No more interrupting, all right, Judy? For God's sake.
Roosters, Rabbitohs. That was a cracker early on, but James Tedesco, geez, like, I know there's a lot of people out there that do not like him, but, man, he is probably, since Billy Slater leaving the game, he's probably the best fullback that we've seen in the game. And Roosters run out 28-12 winners, Vince.
Yeah, mate, he's a classy player. Can't believe the Tigers let him go. He looked good in the orange and black. Sorry to bring up that one, mate, but yeah.
Well, just name the players that left the Tigers, mate.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
I can't even count on my hands.
Yeah, I know. Make a good side with those players. But they're too good. Again, I think they showed they're one of the best sides in the comp. Teddy's a beast, as he said. He's probably the best player in the game at the moment, I'd say. And then, just such a solid team. Even the Morris brothers. I mean, they're 33.
And
but they still killing it.
Yeah, and that chase down from Brett Morris.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Got a bit of toe.
2 tackles in the space. Like, ran him down, made the tackle or made a half tackle, and then made the tackle again. That's shades of 2014 Origin.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you still got it, the old boy.
So Roosters run out 16-point victors over the Rabbitohs. Moving into Saturday, and the Warriors against the Dragons, the hapless Dragons. 18-0 victors. Now, who saw this coming? Who, honestly, because I didn't tip them. Who saw this coming, though, Judy?
Oh, I don't think many people would have tipped him, to be honest. But
100%.
Look, I think a lot of people thought that Warriors probably wouldn't play so well because they're away from their families and kids and whatnot. But they brought that energy on the field and made Dragons look silly. And some of the players of the Dragons didn't even look like they were keen to play. To be honest. It
was really good to see a lot of young guys from the Warriors really step up. And Alicia Katoa was very, very good.
Good run
in his first stint. Cody Nikorima, as soon as the game started going the Warriors' way, Cody Nikorima was actually really, really good, getting out, having a run. So hopefully that's another team we all want to see go well. They just keep moving on forward and just cross them. No injuries.
I think the main thing, they completed their first 44 sets, which is just ridiculous. They finished 46 of 48. I don't think that's ever been done before.
Mm-hmm.
So if they
96% completion rate is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the Dragons weren't, I think they were 80%, but the Warriors, 96%. You're not going to lose too many games doing that. So if they can keep that up, who knows, that might be a sneaky chance.
Yeah, complete your sets, no errors, no penalties.
No, it's huge.
Yeah, it's just as simple as that, isn't it?
It's a simple game. It's a simple game.
Yeah,
the middle game on Saturday night, the West Tigers over the Sharks. Now, wow. Yes, up the Tigers. They were 12-point victors over the Sharks. When the Tigers scored early points, and the Sharks came back, and I was really, really worried with Wade Graham on that edge.
Dangerous.
He was dangerous with that left boot, and he's got that pass run kick going. But the Tigers held in there. They played. They came out, and after the second half, they scored all the points. One player to note for mine was the signing from the Storm, was Harry Grant coming up to the Tigers, like we spoke last week. Geez, he was good, Vince.
Yeah, mate, quality pickup from the Tigers. And then you add him with Billy Walters coming off the bench. It's a pretty
100%.
dangerous little 9 combination there.
Yeah, and
Billy's he's got a bit of toe. Yeah, he only played 10, 15 minutes, but geez, he looked dangerous whenever he got the ball.
Mm-hmm. Talking about dangerous, what about Benji Marshall? He hasn't lost
it. Mate, that guy should never retire. He is like a fine wine. He gets better year after year after year, and it really showed in probably the last 15 minutes. The game management from the old codger. He just put it into corners. He directed his forwards around.
He's just smart about his footy. He just
100%. So,
no, it was a really impressive win for the Tigers.
Tigers, probably, or the tipping comp that I'm in, only 4 people out of 35 tipped the Tigers. So, onwards and upwards for the Tigers. They've got a really tough game next week at Suncorp Stadium against the Titans. So, we'll see who wins that one. The final game on Saturday. Now, we all want to see this team go well after last year in the grand final. I'll keep bringing it up, Vince.
Stop bringing it up.
22-6 victors down at Amy Park to the Raiders. Jeez, Vince, talk us through this one, mate.
Well, it was a hot start by the Raiders. We're
bad and mean, aren't we?
Get-go. Yeah, it was great to see big Jordy Rapana, one of my boys. He's one of my favourites. He crossed that. He got the first try. It was just good to have him back.
Very.
He scored, and then Nick Kotrick. See that ball from what's his name? Big Georgie Williams. The Wizard of Schnoz, I'm calling him. He's got an enormous nose on him. But it was a great ball. Put Kotrick over, and then they never really looked troubled. Thought defensively they were really strong. George Williams again put a massive shot on Papenhuyzen. He just destroyed him.
One of the best.
I know he's only a light fella, but geez, he dumped him on his ass.
Yeah, one of the best moments from that game, I think, was when I think it was about 10 to go. The Storm just kept smashing the line, and Justin Olam, they had a little grubber kick, and Justin Olam gathered it, and there was literally just a swarm of Raiders players all around him. And that just shows the Raiders, their defence on Saturday night is just a force to be reckoned with. Judy?
Yeah, it was Joe Tarpon, I think, wrapped him up. Sorry, Judy. Joe Tarpon, as you said, like 4 or 5 of us jumped on him. Sorry, Judy, where are you going?
Oh, well, I just thought George Williams, he's probably my player of the week. I just thought that the way he went about his business, he was very good. I forgot that Jack White was even on the field.
Big call.
He was, running through the line, big tackles. He just seemed like he was at home at the Raiders. So it's hard coming from England to play over here.
100%. They say that most halves don't really. Yeah, there's. They say that most halves that come from the UK aren't really going to thrive out here in the Australian conditions. But if you're living in Canberra, I'm sure it's exactly the same as the north of England. So well done to the Raiders.
Half our team are Poms. So.
Yep, exactly. So well done to the Raiders. 22-6 victors over the Storm. Moving to today's games, and Jesus, you couldn't split these two. I thought the Knights were going to get home in the end. If Bradman Don Best passed that ball to Hedrick Lee, but 14 all, Penrith and Newcastle at Campbelltown Stadium. How did you see that one, Judy?
Look, I thought with Pearce out, I thought Panthers would be all over him. So I thought the young Burton was pretty good, even though he missed it under pressure. But I thought he played.
I've got one hand. Well. I'll show you how many times he missed. He missed 5 shots at goal. That's another time.
I thought someone else would be going for a few goals. To be honest, not him.
Well, the Penrith Panthers they'd be hating that they didn't have Nathan Cleary, who's got a knack for kicking field goals at the late part of games. So Vince, does anyone stand out for you in that game?
I really like the big Texan Hoy at the back.
The young Texan.
The big Texan Hoy. He's got a big future, I reckon. Obviously, Ponga will come back next week, I think. But
yeah, so does he stay in the team or get him off the bench maybe?
I don't know.
Watson had a little bit of an injury tonight, so...
Yeah, well, that was the other. They lost Pearce and Watson within about 5 minutes of each other. So, and then they were down 14-0, so to come back from that was amazing. But, yeah, I reckon maybe a bench spot. He could come on, cause a bit of havoc late in the game. He's got a bit of pace, a bit of excitement.
I would probably replace him with Edric Lee. Edric Lee. Not
Get him in.
Yeah. Hit his lover. Hit his lover.
He was looking at the try line and he wasn't even looking at the ball.
JL, you actually look like Edric Lee.
Are you blaming him for that last pass? It was a metre behind me.
You blaming him.
Never going to catch that.
You look like Edric Lee, Judisan. But anyway, 14 all.
Stop getting into that.
14 all was that end of that game. And then the last game tonight, which is just finished. And what a dog's breakfast that was, no pun intended. 32-6 winners, Manly over the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs just go from bad to worse. Don't they, Vince?
They've had a disgraceful start to the schoolgirl scandal. I mean, we love a schoolgirl scandal here at the Burrito, but that was shocking by them. They lost their sponsor. They don't even deserve a sponsor, to be honest. They're running out there without anything on their jerseys, and it suits them because they're disgraceful. But, yeah, Manly, I think they're the story. They're pretty dangerous, especially those Trebojevic brothers.
So that second try that Tommy Trebojevic scored when he got it off his brother Jake was just a simple block. And you're just like, they've been probably doing that for years in the backyard. And it comes off in a game. It'd be awesome to play with my brothers, but my brothers are shit at rugby. So,
cheap shot.
So 32-6 winners in the end, which sees Manly go to 2-3 to start the year. So that's our review from the weekend. We're going to throw over to all three of us. Judy, I want your best player, best win, and toughest loss of the weekend. And why?
I'm going to have to. Okay, well, I'm going to say George Williams because I thought, like I said, he played such a good game. Tackles, tries, line breaks, he had it all. So
didn't score any tries actually. If you watched the game, no, he set a couple up, but he didn't score any. Unbelievable. And then probably the toughest loss for me personally would have been the Titans losing 36-6.
What a surprise!
What was the last one you said, mate?
The best win.
Best win. And I'd probably have to go game with the Raiders to beat Storm. It's pretty hard to beat Storm in Melbourne. So, yeah, it's
hard for some.
I'd have to go with the Raiders.
Well, you've literally just stolen mine, pretty much, Judy. Thanks for that. I was going to go big Jorge Williams, the Wizard of Schnorz, but who should I? Another Raider. I'm going to go with Papali. He didn't play that well. He wasn't that expert. It was game 200. I love the man. I think he's a ripper. He's a beauty. I love him. I just love him. He's a Queenslander. That's why I love him as well. I reckon he's the best front row in the game at the moment.
Toughest loss for you, Vince?
Toughest loss is that worst loss, the Dragons. I mean, to not score a point.
Yeah,
they just looked horrendous. They were so bad. They were really poor. And then best win. Look, they didn't win. It was a draw, but I thought the Knights to go down 2 players in the first 5-10 minutes to come back from 14-0. I thought they were outstanding. So there's my 3.
So,
Brendan?
Yes, thanks, Vince. Best player for me for the weekend. Now, it's a player that probably some people don't know who he is or don't watch the Tigers a lot. But Luke Garner, who plays in the second row for the Tigers, he is just an absolute workhorse. He was making tackles left, right, and centre. He's a huge, strong ball carrier. Scored a try for the Tigers as well. I think he is a player to watch moving up the ranks. And I think he was the best player for the weekend. Obviously, I'm very biased about the Tigers.
That's all right.
The best win for mine, 100%, had to be the Warriors. Because, honestly, I didn't pick it. And I didn't think they were going to do any good until a couple of weeks maybe in. But I think that's awesome for them. Morale will go through the roof. Stephen Kearney's obviously doing something, like he's got something good there. And maybe just the isolation where they've been at the Central Coast has done them some good, bit more tight-knit. And I think the toughest loss for me, it has happened. I probably would go to the Titans, but you already said it, Judy. Toughest loss for me, I think, or the worst loss, it's just the Bulldogs. Like they really need to come together. They got so many good players on paper. With the signing of Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, they got Adam Elliott. He loves his late night antics. That bloke. I think not having Kieran Foran in there. They probably need more, older halfback. Yeah. So I hope they do better than what they produced tonight. But
shout out to the Broncos. Honourable mention as the worst loss as well. They were shit out.
Yeah, I think the overall aspect of the Broncos is that they have a very, very good team. They just cannot catch a ball. That's what we saw on Thursday night.
Looking at you, Jamil.
That's
Hopper Wada.
They should learn from the Warriors to complete their sets.
Exactly.
And they'll get the win.
So, looking at the NRL and their movements back into the game, I'll throw this to Vince, who's probably our AFL extraordinaire here. Do you reckon the NRL's got one over the AFL by getting it back 2 weeks earlier? Like, do the AFL? I'm sure all these corporations talk, but do you reckon they've just gone, nah, NRL? Because, all guns blazing. The NRL's just gone, nah, we're literally starting on this date, and that's it. All hail Peter V'landys, by the way.
Peter V'landys. I love V'landys. Yeah, absolutely they have. I mean, you look at Fox Sports over the last month and a half or so. It's been like 80% NRL. They've just dominated the headlines. And, to be the first sport back, to have that many eyeballs on you, to see how you're going to go, they've absolutely got one over the AFL. And that doesn't happen often. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't happen often.
I agree.
I think Gill would be maybe a little bit embarrassed by taking too long. And, the NRL have 2 weeks on their own to get people tuning in. If they were tuning in over the weekend, they would have seen something pretty good. So, I reckon V'landys.
Well, all over the world.
Yeah,
all over the world, they've just
300 million.
Massive numbers watching. The Americans, they're going crazy over there. Oh my God, you guys don't have pads or shoulder pads or anything like that, like or helmets or anything. Like it's just, and they go crazy over the collision, which is awesome to hear. By the way, what are your thoughts?
There was actually a fan from Chicago. I think his name was called Jim. He was
Jim.
I think he was actually supported the Cowboys to beat the Titans. He put up a post on Twitter.
So was I.
What a dickhead! Did you give it to him?
I would give it to him if I knew him.
Yeah, you would give it to him, wouldn't you, Judy? So just a tandem for the AFL. We've all seen over the week the most depressing injury for the Swans. Buddy Franklin going down with another hamstring injury. What does this mean for the Swans, Vinny? And what does it actually mean for his future? Because he's obviously on that 10-year contract, $1 million a season. Does this really, as a fan like myself for the Swans, would just go another year or another couple of months out with Buddy? Like, what does this do for morale for him and then for the Swans?
Yeah, it sucks, obviously, because he missed, I think, 9 weeks last season with a hamstring. Then this one's supposedly even worse. So it looks like probably he'll miss at least half of the shortened season, which sucks because you just love watching him play. He's just a legend.
Massive left boot, and he gets into a pocket, or he goes for a lead, and sticks up the hand. Yeah, I want it. So
exactly, he can hoof it from anywhere. So yeah, look, it sucks. And for him, I think he's 32, 33, so he's coming towards the end anyway. But look, I just hope he gets back because I wanted to see him get to 1,000 goals. He deserves it. He's been amazing. And then what it means for the Swans, I think it's probably going to be tough to play finals now. I think we need everything to go right to sneak in, but without the big boudoir, I don't know. It just seems unlikely. So
yeah,
it sucks, but what can you do? It's part of the game.
Yeah, it is annoying, and we'll see what happens and comes out of it. So
I like that attitude. Just get on with it.
The Southern Showdown, Judy. It's the clash between Port Adelaide and the Adelaide Crows. There's talks about potential crowd of about up to 20,000 in round 2. Do you reckon that'll come to fruition?
Not sure about that, to be honest. I don't know what's
you can't
their thought
see,
process is like.
Yeah, you can't see because if they just have say for one round and they're the only team that can have, obviously that'll bring revenue, that'll bring spectators to the game, which probably makes it a bit more lively. But yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, what's their thought process and why? Obviously, the Southern Showdown, as all AFL pundits know, is a massive clash. And as Vince alluded to last week, that's all they talk about in Adelaide.
Look, and I'll just put it. It's just called the Showdown. It's not the Southern Show. It's just the Showdown. That's
you're going to pull me up about
that. Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, I just don't think they'll be able to get those crowds in. I just think that it will take some time for them to actually let crowds into any sort of sporting venue, to be honest.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. I think, especially with the virtual crowd noise now, I'm not sure we ever need crowds again.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts. But I think, look, 20,000, I think that's a bit ambitious. I know it's in Adelaide. I don't think they've had a case of COVID for about a month or so.
Well, there you go.
So if that continues for another 2 weeks, then who knows? Maybe they could get a few thousand in, but 20,000 seems a bit much for mine.
Yeah,
it'd be great to see.
Well, June 11th is the suspected start date for the Aussie rules, which is 2 weeks. Or less than 2 weeks now. So we'll just wait and see. That's obviously first round. Could be well to go for round 2. So just moving on, rugby union talk. The Australian only conference has come out with obviously the 4 Super Rugby sides that we have. And the Western Force will now join this Australian rugby only conference competition starting in July. I think that's massive for the game. The Western Force are they were a mainstay in the Super Rugby for a little bit. And them coming back, even though they're playing in their own competition, I think it's massive for people in Perth, Vince.
Yeah, I was just wondering what sort of team they're going to have. Because if they don't have access to the Super Rugby players, are they just running second-rate players, or what's going to happen?
There is some guys that have played Super Rugby level and then probably not got a crack moving forward. So hopefully, I reckon I could beat the Waratahs. Shout out to Corey Trudgeon, big Waratah supporter.
Anyone could beat the Waratahs.
I think they could beat the Waratahs, to be honest. But teams like the Reds, obviously all the Super Rugby teams that we have, they are very dominated by Wallabies and stuff like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. So, Judy, the EPL has announced a restart date of the 27th of June. Do you follow EPL much, mate?
Oh, not really, but it's really I guess it's good to get all the sport going back up again.
Yeah,
Who's your team?
Yeah, who would your team be? Who would your team be?
Oh, well, I guess I used to live on the Central Coast, so I have to go to the Central Coast Mariners.
Oh, no. The EPL, Judy.
In the
English
EPL,
Premier
Judy.
League.
Oh, sorry, APL. My bad.
I don't think they play in the EPL. Central Coast Mariners.
Oh, sorry, in the
More
APL,
of
it's Arsenal that I support.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, I think it's good. I think it's good to get all these sporting codes back, as Judy said. And I don't know how many games they're going to get out of it, but
because they
I
were
just
still
think Liverpool were that far in front.
Yeah, but from the stop of COVID, there would have still been like 2.5, 3 months to go because the bloody Premier League goes until May or June or something like that. So
yeah, right. But Liverpool were already 25 points ahead, I think. So it was a foregone conclusion.
Give it to them.
Yeah, you give them the title, but then I think it comes down to the top 4 and then relegation as well. I know they do the relegation over there, so yeah, I think it's good. It's just good to have it all coming back, bit of normality.
Yep. Hopefully, it'll be really good to see. Once, say for Australia, for instance, once restrictions ease, all this sport coming back, and then hopefully see some fans back in stands very soon.
Yeah.
So for all our listeners out there, Tom Brady over the weekend played in a match with Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and Peyton Manning, and they were raising funds. Vince, do you know what they were raising funds for?
I got no idea. Question without notice.
I'm good with these ones.
Look, I'm not a big golfer. All I saw was Brady's shot. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I don't know anything else about it.
They were playing in a match where they were raising charity money, and then they had a couple of different amounts of money that they could have on each hole, and so they had one of the broadcasters was the great Charles Barkley.
Shark. Love Shark.
And he actually egged Tom Brady egged him on just before that shot.
He was giving him shit, wasn't he? Because Brady was playing like crap.
He's playing like a busted ass, as we all do playing golf. But he then took that motivation and chipped in from probably about 125 yards out. And what a glorious shot it was. Hit some backspin and went straight in. We'll put a little bit of footage up after the burrito for all you.
It's just good to know he can do it all, really. He just must have such a good life, that boy.
Honestly. He's the best we've probably ever see as a quarterback. Shout out to Peyton Manning as well. He's pretty good. Not Joe Montana out there, but Michael Vick, one of my favourites. The Browns.
Baker Mayfield.
Well done to Tom Brady on the weekend. He makes enough headlines as it is. Just calm down, mate. Now, Judy, if you listened to the podcast last week, we spoke about. I'm going to throw it. We spoke about Daniel Abt and his disgraceful cheating he was in an esports competition and a gamer took his place. And you know what? I'm going to say it. He still came third. So, if you're a cheat,
didn't even win. Bum.
Right? So, Vince, can you tell us more about what's happened over the past couple of days?
Well, rightly so. He's been sacked by Audi. I think it's the best decision they've ever made. It makes me want to go out and buy an Audi, to be honest. He deserves to be sacked. He's a disgrace. He's the enemy of the show. There's no doubt about that.
He's the number one enemy, and he forever will be the enemy of the show.
Forever. And
Daniel Abt here at the Sporting Burrito. Good riddance. Good riddance.
It's good to see him go.
Enough said. I don't want to touch on it anymore, unless there's more to come. We'll keep you posted. Daniel, when he's locked up, we'll let you know when he's locked up.
It's definitely a good laugh hearing about it last week.
It was.
It's not laughing. It's no laughing matter. It's we take it very seriously here at the Burrito.
So
it's a disgrace.
We've got some listener questions that have been sent in, boys. And we'll just get to a few. Judy, I'll throw this one to you first. The one referee over the weekend, as we see with the NRL, it's gone back to no more two referees. What do you reckon? Has that worked well over the weekend? And will there ever be two refs in the game again?
Well, I thought it worked really well. I thought a lot of the calls were pretty good, and you always have the captain's challenge if you want to challenge it. So, yeah, I thought overall it was well done by the refs.
Yep.
And then
do you think you'll see two refs again?
I reckon there will be. I reckon probably by the state of origin there'll be two refs again by November. But I don't think for the rest of the season I see it just being one ref.
Yeah, right. Interesting thoughts from JL. Vince, one of our loyal listeners, Hamish Trudgeon, sent this one in. How exciting has it been to bet on something other than Russian table tennis?
Oh, it's still good to watch.
Still, yeah. We're still going to keep up that betting on the Russian table tennis. I think it's much more. Shout out to the big Hamwana as well. I love him. I miss him. I do miss him. But it's exciting, mate. It's good to put a multi together, even if you go out first leg. Who gives a shit? It's just nice. It's just nice. Yeah, it's a good question. Good. Keep them coming.
We'll all answer this one and talk about it in some length. How about that? So this is sent in by Angus Mitchell. We all know Gus Mitchell.
Gussie.
What do you guys think about Mitchell Moses? Is he the best half in the game at the moment, considering we only have 3 rounds? And does he have the ability to keep it up all season? What do you reckon, Judy?
Yeah, he's been really good so far. Yeah, it just depends, It just depends on the injuries and whatnot. Hopefully, he can keep going well. That's another loss for the Tigers. They should have kept him along, but
thanks, mate.
Cheers. No, but yeah, he's playing well, and you always hope for players to keep doing well through the season. So,
just imagine Moses and Tedesco in the same side.
Moses, Tedesco, Adokar. Who else?
Yeah, exactly.
I reckon. He looks the goods the most. I think his tenure at Parramatta, he's started where he needed to go, and then he just keeps building. And I think him controlling the game in the kicking role, he just really puts so much onus on himself to just be the best he can be.
He's kicking so well, isn't he? Like 13 out of 13 at the moment.
Yeah.
I think he missed one. I reckon there's a couple. Obviously, Moses played really well, but I think Luke Keary's going to challenge him. And then the other one, Nathan Cleary, obviously TikTok Cleary. He's out for 2 weeks, but he's origin half. He's young as well. 100%. I think I could see between those 3 sort of the best halves in the game. Yeah. Then obviously the Wizard of Schnoz as well, my boy.
Georgie Williams, I want to see him really.
Yeah, you got to keep it up.
The problem with the Raiders has been is they've got halves in there, and then they've just been in and out of the side because they just cannot consistently play well. You'll get Caesar, you look at Sam Williams over the past couple of years. I think George Williams, if he plays how he did on Saturday night every week, well, the Raiders are going to have a red hot season.
Well, that's the thing. You got to keep it up. Same as all these guys. People tend to go off. We've had 1 game back, So you got to see them do it for a month and then 2 months. But big Jorge, he was good, and I think the beauty of him being there is having Josh Hodgson as well, who does a lot of the organising and controlling. So
the Englishmen know what they're doing.
Mate,
so
that English connection. So Williams can just sort of focus on his running game, which seems to be his best attribute. Instead of organising, along with Whiten, who's also bloody dangerous.
One of the
What a good squad.
one of the halves to me, probably, if we're talking best in the game at the moment, I think he flies under the radar a lot. And yes, this is me being biased again, but I think Luke Brooks.
Oh, here we go.
Luke Brooks, he was the best halfback in the competition last year. And I think he just doesn't get enough credit for what is due. And I think I know Benji is very instrumental in that side, but if the Tigers are going to be very good and moving forward this year, Luke Brooks is massive in that side. So shout out to you, Luke. I know you listen to the podcast all the time. So
not sure about that. How about that?
So yeah, anything else, Judy? You want to talk about sport?
Look, I reckon Cameron Munster. Yeah, I think he didn't have a good game.
Don't go near George Tafua, Cameron Munster.
But I think I still think he's quite a classy player. I think over the season he'll show the class he has, really. So,
yep,
definitely Origin player. Quality.
So that's all we've got time for here at the Sporting Burrito, where we wrap all things sport for your Sunday night. We thank you for joining us, Judy and Vince. We hope you all have enjoyed the time, and we'll speak to you soon on Tuesday night with our preview of round 2 and the sport to come next weekend. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.